Now, I don't think it's any secret to say that the entire 2021 Dallas Cowboy season will hinge on the health and production of the offensive line. It's going to determine how well Dak Prescott plays, if he can stay upright, making sure that he has the time to get the ball downfield, stuff like that. Also, can this offensive line get running lanes for Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard? It's going to really be the determining factor for how explosive this offense is this year. So, we're going to take a look at how the offensive line looks in terms of the starters and the backups, just an overall look at the offensive line. Now, in case you're new here, I'm doing this position evaluation series for the 2021 Dallas Cowboys, and I've done a couple other position groups. So at the top right of the screen right about here, make sure to go check out the previous episodes in the playlist in case you missed out on them. Also, if you've been enjoying it or enjoy this content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on new content. Now, let's get into this offensive line. So I'll go ahead and start out, obviously, with the starters. Who is starting for this offensive line? I think that it's fair to say at left tackle it's Tyron Smith until further notice. The big question has been his health. Okay? And it really sucks because Tyron has been in the league for so long and he's just turning 30. It's just crazy that he's been in the league since 2011. And, for how long he's played, he's been a huge component for this offensive line. And now his health is starting to deteriorate because of how much mileage he has on his body. So you kind of have to start thinking, when are we going to get his replacement? I think that it's going to be sooner rather than later. You could argue that the Cowboys could be seeing him as a cap dump if things don't really pan out, but I don't know. I think we got to see how 2021 looks because we have seen that he's missed time before, but really last year was his first major, he's out for a long period of time. He only played 2 games last year, and then he had the setback with his neck, so I'm hoping he's okay. If he's all good to go, and even if he's 70 to 80%, he's still a really damn good tackle, especially for the money you're paying him, okay? So there's that. Next is left guard. Now, left guard has been an enigma for Dallas ever since Ronald Leary has left. I think that they've more or less had a stabilizing factor in Connor Williams. Now, I'm not saying that he's great, but he has been improving, and that's something I want to see. He had the best year of his career last year in terms of staying on the field and just being overall productive, which is awesome. So I can't wait to see what he looks like next year. Now, I do believe he should get pushed to the limit in terms of, Connor McGovern being right behind him, because I do think Connor McGovern has the build for being a guard. But, there is that possibility in which, hey, if Tyron Smith doesn't work out, you can kick Connor out to left tackle, you put Connor McGovern at left guard, and bam, there you go. You just have to make sure you re-sign, Connor Williams. Now, would I say, do we bring back Connor Williams? Now, I did a video on this. I kind of think I got to wait and see. I need to see some consistency because, honestly, it's a contract year for him. I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas tried to re-sign him on the cheap, but I wouldn't be shocked also if Dallas let him go because he's asking for too much. And this is the kind of stuff you do. You just churn and burn with some of these players unless they're all, Pro Bowl, all-pro type of stuff. So I still think Connor Williams is the starter, but I do think that there are other guys that are fit for the job, but we need to see how they pan out. Now, at center, with Joe Looney still out in free agency and yet to be re-signed, I think it's safe to say that it's Tyler Biadasz's job going forward, which I'm very happy to see. I think he should have been the starter point blank last year, and in his time, granted with him being a rookie, he did relatively well. Okay, and I think that it's important that we recognize that we might have a solid starter in him. And that's no real shocker there. I mean, going into the 2020 draft, he was pegged as a top prospect at the center position, but some of the injuries really pushed him down the draft board. So I'm really happy that the Cowboys were able to get him because now, you get this cheap guy for the next 3 seasons. And so with that, it kind of gives you a chance to really get younger at the offensive line position and see what you have in him because you might end up being able to get a future, for another contract out of him, especially if he continues to improve. So I can't wait to see a full year out of Tyler Biotish, which is going to be awesome. Now, I don't think right guard needs any introduction. It's Zach Martin. I think that as long as he stays upright, he is one of the best, if not the best guard in football, or the best even offensive lineman in football. And so, for me, it's all about health, right? The health is the key component for three of our main guys. Now, I don't think that Zach is in that territory for Tyron level. Okay, we need to keep an eye out. Maybe we got to. I want to see what happens this year. I think he'll be fine. But if we start seeing the wear and tear show up, we'll be having a different conversation. So I'm still in wait and see mode with him. Otherwise, we're set at right guard. Right tackle, I think you're set with La'el Collins. I know that last year he had the whole hip thing. He didn't play the entire year, which sucks. So we got to see how he really does in the whole situation with his hip. Because even if he's, same thing like I said about Tyron, if he's 80 to 70% of what he wants, if he is what he once was, I still think that's really good considering what you're getting from him. And if now going into the best case, worst case scenario with this offensive line, starter wise, best case scenario, you have a top 10, possible top 5 unit if everyone fires on all cylinders. Like, they have the talent to do it. And I understand the talent isn't a huge metric, but let's just keep this in mind, everybody. As long as the Cowboys have competent, play, which isn't hard considering this group, I think that we'll be fine. Last year we were doing really good, and we even had a top 10 metric type of offense with Andy Dalton and how this offensive line was interchangeable. Now, I do think that if everybody stays upright, once again, we'll be fine. So they'll be really good if everyone stays healthy. And the worst case is that Tyron gets hurt, Zach and La'el have issues, but I still think that even at their worst, they're a top 15 unit. So there's that. Now, getting to these backups, now bear with me because I have to take a look at the list. Now, at center, they did get the rookie Matt Farnock. I think that's how Farnock. I don't know how you pronounce it. But I would say that it's a wait and see with him. They also, at the center/guard position, have Braylon Jones. So for competition there, based off of what I see there, I do think that it's Tyler Biadash's job. And I'm hoping that Matt Farnock turns into a solid backup because you need to have these guys just in case. So I'm really excited to see what he could bring to the table, especially with the Cowboys getting him as a project type of player late in the draft. Now, going to the guard positions, as mentioned with the center/guard guys, you got Connor McGovern, okay, which he's basically your swing guy. Well, not swing guy, but more the guard that is your backup in the event that either Williams or Zach Martin go down. So I'm definitely keeping an eye out for how well he plays if he's called upon, which I think if you look at last year, he played very well considering the circumstances. So there is that. A lot of the Cowboys' depth and competition is going to be at the tackle position, which is an extremely important part of it. Aside from, you could argue center, which I still think center is one of the more important parts of the offensive line, if not the second most important. Your tackles are the most important, your blindside blockers. So aside from the two starters, according to the list, so you have Eric Smith. Don't know a whole lot about him, so I'm not going to give you a full-on opinion. Now, Nishi, I don't know. Nishi, I don't know. I'm not really good with names. He's basically your Cameron Fleming replacement. You're not really going to see anything crazy there. Brandon Knight's more your, I really wish we could play him at guard because I feel like he's more suited there. But I think with Brandon Knight, you have a solid guy. Not great, but solid. Mitch Hyatt, we haven't gotten a whole lot to see from him, so I can't tell you. Then you have Josh Ball and Isaac Arlacion. So with Isaac, I like the potential in him. I think that as long I want to see how he does in preseason because I'm really rooting for this guy to be a solid backup. I really think he has that potential to even be a low tier solid starter. Now, when I mean low tier, I don't mean garbage. I mean like he has at the highest point of being is like okay, he can be a solid starter at best. Now, Josh Ball, the more controversial pick, the talent's there. The talent is there for him to be a quality starter at the tackle position, given the value. Kind of like it's like a Tyler Biotish type of value, and like okay, so um, there were issues that led to him falling in the draft, and again, not really keen on the whole issues around him, but if we're just looking at the player, it's a really good pick. Um, and then I'm just trying to make sure I went through everybody that I can give an opinion. Now, Terrence Steele, final guy that I was looking at according to this list. With Terrence Steele, as much as we get on him for being garbage, I will admit this, he did get better. As the season went on, he did improve, and I can give him that. Okay, so I got to give props to Joe Philbin. Granted, what happened last year. Look, he ended up being a decent backup towards the end. He had his moments, most definitely. Like, at the beginning, he was terrible. But now, I could safely say, like, I wouldn't put him on the field for long, but if I need him for a couple snaps, or maybe a couple quarters, I can, or even a game. Like, I could deal with him for a game, but definitely not long term. But when I look at this position group, to kind of wrap everything up, I do think that the Cowboys have a solid offensive line, even good to great offensive line unit, and that's not crazy to say. I don't care if anyone calls me a homer, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. If you objectively look at it, the depth that the Cowboys have is solid enough to where if someone is out, they can hold their own, okay? Not for long, like on a long period of time, but they can definitely hold their own. When it comes to the starters, if everyone is upright, and you can say that for any position in the NFL, for any team, if health is taken out the window and you don't got to worry about it, the Cowboys have a top 5 offensive line if everyone is fully ready to go. So there is that. And I'm very comfortable with what the Cowboys have been doing. They've been getting guys every year. You got to keep doing that. So if you were to give me, a decision on what I wanted to do, letter grade wise, I would give this group, I would say an A B plus if you factor in everything. I think if health wasn't a concern, I would easily give it a solid A, but B plus with the health included. I think that the potential with these young guys is really high. If they get the chance to really show themselves, and they are doing fairly well for rookies and being younger talent, younger types of talent and players, I think that the Cowboys can really hold their own. Like, we're not going to get caught with our pants down where it's like we have 2 terrible guys and it's like, oh no. Like, it's very hard to really do well when all your guys are out, and it's very rare when that happens. So I think that the Cowboys will be fine going into 2021. Now, I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. If you can leave a comment down below, that'd be great, along with leaving a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell. Thank you to all of my members that are continuously being a part of the membership program. If you'd like to join that, hit the join button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.